Well, bowling fans are back again. New Berlin Bowl, the site this time, the DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash. Got the boys on this time. Girls put on a pretty good show for us, Dwight, no doubt about that. But I'll tell you what, 3 young men are in the top 3 spots this show. All were in the top 16 at Junior Gold, the Youth National Tournament just recently, and amazing bowling coming up. There's no other way to say it.
I mean, all 4 of them that deserve to be this show, number 1, and all of them have great gifts and talents. And again, it's like a clash of the titans, Phil, for these shows. All these young men have pro tour abilities.
Yeah, 3 great collegiate players, awesome bowling. There's no other way to put it. I'm just stunned right now, just knowing the quality of the show. I'm looking forward to calling it. So Dwight and I will be back to call it from New Berlin Bowl in just a moment for the DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash. Make sure you stay tuned, because I think it's going to be the best bowling you've seen so far this year.
300 isn't just a number, it is our destination. Shouting at a ball will make it strike more. Nothing is as satisfying as hurling dangerously heavy spheres at stationary objects and watching X's fill the frames. You know it, we know it, so here's to the ballers, the lane dwellers, the alley cats. A new breed is rising from the lanes. We are DV8. Tonight we bowl.
The Milwaukee area's bowling party specialist, whether for a small group or a large fundraiser. Daily food and beverage specials, whether you're on the lanes or inside the spacious alehouse. Whether for a casual meeting, business luncheon, or wedding reception, our banquet and meeting facilities can fit your needs. New Berlin Alehouse, West Cleveland Avenue, New Berlin. Opening match here for the 2013 DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash. Coming to you once again from New Berlin Bowl. Dwight, Quentin Fisher, you know him pretty well, leading things off on lane 23 here at New Berlin.
Yeah, Quentin's a great kid. I'll remember forever the story that he came into the shop during one of your tournaments, Phil, a couple of years ago, and he was borrowing my crazy glue to put his thumb back together. So I talked to his mom and said, hey, let's check his equipment. And we made some major changes in it, and now he says he has a healthy thumb, which is nice.
Yeah,
great game.
Yeah, and a pretty healthy shot to start off with on that 47-foot long pattern. Same patterns the girls bowled on for their DV8 Diva Clash. And we've got Riley Smith, recently made the top 16 at the Junior Gold in Detroit, looking to build off of that as well.
Phil, this show is like all-star youth bowling right here for the boys. All 4 of them, any of them, if they have a good day, could win this show.
Absolutely. Mix of patterns all day. They saw the short pattern that you see on the right lane here, the long pattern, and they also saw a medium pattern during their 8 games of qualifying, so a good mix. Had to be on top of their physical and mental games in order to qualify and make the show. And Quentin Forsteed, he still averaged over 208 for the day to make the show, so tough conditions, all sport or PBA compliant, and it's going to take probably 210 to 215 games, I think, to win matches today on TV.
And again, Phil, not only that, you have to use the exit point equation of taking the length of the pattern minus 31 feet. And you can see Riley played it correctly. Now we'll see if he plays inside on this lane. Obviously, if it's 47 minus 31, your exit point is going to be about 16th board. So you might see a lot of the boys playing inside on the left lane and outside on the right lane.
Yeah, Riley with that equipment change. Gets way deep, not much of a break. And is he going to get the roll on the messenger? Not quite.
And again, very similar to what we saw during the summer series with the lawn pattern at AMF Waukesha. A lot of the pro bowlers played very far inside, 4th, 5th arrow, and obviously you can see the boys are following suit using that exit point equation to a T so far.
Yeah, Riley and the winner of this match will go to face on Nick Kreml. Both these young men bowled the PBA Bear Open when it was in town on that 40-foot dead flat U.S. Open type pattern. Didn't do as well as they liked, but you can tell they learned a lot from that experience bowling with the pros, and they've made the TV show here today.
Again, Phil, it's not just having a great physical game. You also have to have that lane play experience and then equipment to match up to that lane play experience.
Quentin struggled a little bit this morning on the short pattern. He made an equipment change, and it helped him relax a little bit. get through the end of the block. He really scored well on the long pattern later today. You can tell with his higher speed and higher rev rate. And that one just not far enough outside, Dwight.
Yeah, he's playing it a little bit more in than what I would expect, Phil, especially for that shorter pattern. I would expect him to be more around the third, fourth board. Obviously, he's not very happy with the big four leave.
And you can see right there, he was at about 7th or 8th board, and with the lack of hold on these sport bowling patterns, you're not going to get those breaks you'd see in league bowling where a ball just sits and holds in the pocket.
Power exemplified when it comes to Quentin. Not much slide on his last step, Phil. He actually spikes his slide foot and then kind of pulls through with the upper body. Youth and strength will get him through that. I'm very impressed since day one from watching this young man from Green Bay.
Yeah, and Quentin, another bowler, made the top 64 at Junior Gold, just missed the match play rounds. No, he was talking a little bit to his family afterwards. He's made the decision. He's staying in youth leagues for another year. I believe Riley Smith is going to be staying in youth leagues for another year as well. We'll have to see what Nick Krumler, second seed, and Ryan Zager, our top seed, plan on doing. But with Ryan making Team USA, I think he has to stay youth for another year no matter what. Otherwise, he loses that junior Team USA spot. I don't see him doing that. Or Nick. No. Nick was qualifying leader, so he also made junior Team USA. So, boy, I think this is, like as you said before, all-star youth bowling. I think this is the highest caliber of show we've had yet.
If the competition is there, which it is for these young men at this age, most certainly stay in it. If the competition is there. For me, when I was their age, I was born against 10-year-old little girls. Everyone moved on, and so did I. I went to adult leagues at 18, Phil.
Yeah. Well, there's so much opportunity for the kids. I mean, we offer scholarship money for the kids.
Yeah, which we didn't have back then.
And the merchandise prizes, and next thing it makes the decision to stay in youth leagues much easier. And Quentin, a bad break there with the chop, gets Riley Smith out to an early 28-pin lead.
Yeah, he's falling behind quick, and obviously spare shooting on, again, sport-compliant conditions can be even tougher than trying to make spares on a typical house shot.
Yeah, we saw that with the girls' show. We saw some single-pin misses from bowlers we didn't expect that from, like Morgan O'Brien and Melissa Molbeck, and a great shot there by Riley. He's playing it straighter and greater on that short pattern lane.
Correct. I think he was actually surprised a little bit, Phil, that the ball actually held by his expression and motions after the shot. But nice flush strike. I think he thought it was going to go high.
Yeah, and he's using much more of a forward roll than Quentin. Quentin, a little bit more of a side turn on it. Riley, with a little more collegiate experience under his belt, and his great coaching from Dennis Knepper down at McKendree University, he knows that sometimes you really need to get that forward roll going, play the lanes a little tighter, get the strong roll at the pocket so you get results like that.
Again, both kids have extremely strong physical games. Both of them are extreme high rev rate. I'd have to put both of them in the high 3s to middle 4s, depending on what they want to do with the ball. But both of them blur it up pretty good.
Yeah, and Riley, a great athlete as well. I mean, not only does he bowl for McKendree, but he also golfs for them, and he regularly shoots rounds in the low 70s. He's almost a scratch golfer, so he keeps himself busy when he's away at school down in the St. Louis area.
Quentin's using the original virtual gravity on this lane, and he was looking for something that would be more smooth and predictable. And that ball, as you can see, still has a lot of jump to it when it hits the dry.
Yeah, with 26 feet of dry in this pattern, 34 feet is all the oil length. There's a lot of room for that ball to move left. And
very tough spare here, Phil.
Yeah, basically you have to make it almost like a crossover.
Yes. We
saw this a couple times during the girls' show. Yeah, that miss left never went anywhere, and that's just a bad spare attempt. No other way to put it.
Mm-hmm. And way behind early. This is at that point where Randy Peterson talks about that you just want to punch yourself in the face.
Yeah, you can see there Quentin just checking the scoreboard. He's down 50 pins already. His opponent working on a double. It's just a matter of get your composure back.
Yep.
And
try to start making some good shots.
Yeah. Especially with the commercial break here. Your opponent's going to have to sit there and think about his next shot. So you might get him off a little bit if you can just get a strike. And
first time I saw him, Phil, I thought he looked very similar to like a Michael Fagan. But over the last year or so, Fagan's really tried to tone it down quite a bit, roll it more up the back, and take a few revs off the ball. But a couple of years ago, Fagan used to really strap it.
Yep. Great strike by Quentin going in the commercial break. We'll be back with a little bit more of this match from New Berlin Bowl in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned.
I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too.
Keep ourselves on time. We had the bowlers continue to throw through the commercial break. Riley Smith stepped up in his 5th frame, just came up a little bit high on that short pattern on lane 24. Switches to that polyester ball, no problem covering that spare up. Then moves to the 47-foot pattern on lane 5 here at New Berlin Bowl. No problem getting that ball to the whole pocket and kicking the 10 out. Quentin Fisher looking to get himself a double here in his 6th frame. Gets that ball out nicely. Gets that double on the board. With a little struggle on lane 23 in frame number 7. Not even getting close to the pocket, leaving the picket fence. Quentin makes the adjustment on his spare attempt, covering all 4 pins with the ball. And with that, we rejoin Dwight Albrecht and myself from New Berlin Bowl. Well, this one, with Riley up 43, if Riley can get a strike here in the 7th, get it out to 53, I'd have to say this one will be pretty much done. And then we get Riley into the next match against Junior Team USA member for 2014, Nick Crummell.
Yeah, when you have 3 opens in a row, Phil, and you go 6 count, 6 count, 5 count for 3 frames in a row, you're going to fall behind very, very quick.
Nice shot there by Riley.
Yeah, beautiful post, and that's what happened to Quentin in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th frames.
So, no problem there. Castle Lanes, once again, thank the Onco family for their support. Phil Onco recovering from a little bit of knee surgery. He's always smiles. I see him on Facebook putting pictures up, no matter what, even after the knee surgery. Always smiles out there and loves his bowlers. If you're in the Racine area, they don't have many fall league openings. Better call him right now to sneak in. And I know they got some fun doubles leagues on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Give them a call. Start at 9 o'clock. You're done by 10. It's awesome. And another great shot to put this match out of reach.
Yeah, and again, both of those strikes, Phil, were completely 10 back. I mean, covering the pocket, absolutely perfect.
You can see the huge difference in lane play by Riley with almost 5th arrow on the left lane and just inside of 1st arrow on the right lane. And versatility when these kids get the collegiate bowling like you see with Riley and Ryan Zagar and Nick, you need the versatility. And there's a shot you don't see too often with kicking out the 3-9 as a right-hander.
I was going to say, there's your trip 3-9, Phil. High rev rates allow that to happen.
I don't get, see, that's why I don't get those being left-handed. I would never get that 3-9 out of there. I'd have them both standing, no
exactly.
doubt. So,
a little different rev rate between you and Quentin.
Yeah, he gets about double on a shot about what I get. No doubt about that. Well, at least he's looking to finish strong here. So, and he horsed that one on the bottom again, and you can just see you miss right on that pattern, even though they got a little burnout on the inside from the practice before the TV show started. It's just going to not do a thing.
Yeah, sitting in the crowd for the summer series over at Bolero, you could see clearly if the pros missed even a board right of their target, Phil, I mean, that ball was instantly into the 3-pin.
Yeah.
No different than what's on this left lane on lane 23.
Yeah, and the interesting thing sometimes with that as well is with that pattern, if they didn't roll the ball correctly, you'd see some things like back in the 70s or early 80s, you'd see 5-7s, you'd see 8-10s. Yeah, exactly. So, and we saw a few of those today, and unfortunately in the girls' match, we saw a pocket 8-10 that ended up for Melissa Molbeck on that lane. But yeah, it can happen. It's kind of the oil is the great equalizer for the balls, but then some bowling ball company will come up with another equalizer to get through the oil.
To a degree, correct. And a lot of it is still shot making. And again, another beautiful shot out of Riley.
Yeah, 4 in a row. It's got to have Nick Crummell looking on, going, where is he playing? Exactly. What's going on? Where do I need to be? Because he knows.
Early on, Phil, he's got a very good look on both lanes. You know, you want to go saying that he's not going to be the champion here, but for his opponents coming, there's got to be a little fear there. He's going to shoot a pretty big game here.
Yeah, I mean, he can go out right here, and he can be in the 250s. So, nice 5 steps up and through, and boy,
beautiful game.
I'll tell you what, Dennis Knepper down at McHenry University just fine-tuned him. I mean, Riley's always had a great game. We've seen him a couple of years ago. He won our Spring Thaw shootout just after the Sean Yonan in 2011, and you know, we know he's gotten game, and he's bowled well. Second place for McHenry at the USBC Intercollegiate Team Championships with A.J. Johnson, who we've seen on many of our shows as well as teammates. So it looks like we're just going to fast track through the rest of this match, get it out of the way. So Riley Smith will be back. He'll be bowling Nick Crummell in our semifinal match for the DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. Classic Lanes Greenfield is your place to be for great fall leagues. Fun Saturday morning youth leagues and our weekend couples leagues are always a party. Don't wait till it's too late. Call Classic Lanes Greenfield today. Battle of the Titans here. Well, it just keeps getting better and better as we go along. No doubt about that today, Dwight, for the DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash. Semi-final match here, Riley Smith leading us off on lane 23 at New Berlin Bowl. And once again, that 47-foot long pattern on the left lane. He's got it pretty well conquered.
Again, if they play the lanes correct, Phil, you could see a pretty close match here between Riley and Nick. Both of them are extremely talented bowlers. Again, I think both of them have a very good grasp of the equipment and how to play the lanes. I guess it's going to comes down to the guy that stays out of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, Riley finished up with a 247 to 162 victory over Quentin Fisher the first match. He's got momentum on his side, and he just keeps it going with an opening strike.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, flush 10 back. Beautiful strikes, Phil.
I am looking forward to this match and the final match. I'll tell you what, 3 young men all in the top 16 at Junior Gold. Shows you what great youth programs are around the area between Wisconsin and Illinois, and the great coaching they're getting in college. I mean, right here, Sean Wachner has coached down at Whitewater for Nick Crummell. We've already talked about Dennis Knepper down at McKendree, and of course for Ryan Zagar, he's got Dale Lehman down at Robert Morris and his staff. And I'll tell you what, no big changes for any of these 3 bowlers over the last year when they were all freshmen in college. Just fine-tune them out. It's amazing the level of improvement we've seen out of all of them.
Well, again, that goes back to our high school development with these young men, Phil. And when they go into college, a coach looks at them and goes, geez, I don't have to do anything with these guys. Maybe a little knowledge on the lane play. Smooth, silky game, obviously, out of Nick. Very interesting arm swing. He comes straight back with it and then tucks it in. A lot like what Wes Malott does, but not as high as a backswing, but very, very smooth going to the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Plays that lane nice and straight, flush 10 back. And we talked about it in the opening match. Both these young men bowled the PBA Bear Open at AMF Bolero when it was in town for the PBA Summer Swing. Both learned a lot. Didn't finish. Riley finished just ahead of our buddy Van McNeil. Riley really close to the foul line there, but stayed behind it, got all 10 in the pit. And Nick finished behind Van, and I kind of gave Nick a little grief about that when he was done, going, hey, guess what? The radio guy beat you. I don't think we'll ever see that again, Van. So if you ever see Nick Crummell in competition, just write him the check directly and walk away, I think is the best advice.
Well, the biggest thing, Phil, is it just shows you on that flat 1-to-1 pattern is it's about staying clean, getting a good look, and maybe that day Nick didn't have it. That pattern can bring a lot of bowlers to their knees.
No doubt, and tell you what, 5 great shots between these 2 young men to start off, and we see 5 strikes. And both these young men, the college experience, the first year of that under their belt, great stuff otherwise with tournaments outside of that. We see them whenever we can on the U Challenge Series. Nick Crummell, of course, up at the Sean Yonan Memorial this last March, won that event as well for that $1,000 scholarship against his teammate Aaron Adams. It's just the experiences for these kids to get are there, and a little quick out of Nick's hand. That was nothing but speed on that shot, and he knows it too.
Yep, got it a little wide, just a board or 2 wide. On the right lane, Phil, he's using by a new company, Radical Reacts, and this is actually a combination of Mo Pinnell and Phil Carnelli. Brunswick is making the cover cores for them, but it's their weight block and designs, and so far very impressed. Anything that Mo Pinnell touches, obviously, he's been around for so long and is one of the most knowledgeable guys in the industry. Left lane, he's using the Versamax.
So yeah, both sister companies, the DV8 Bowling, our sponsor today. For the Marauder Mutiny, the new ball that's out, and kind of falls between their Marauder and their Marauder Madness in the line. So
correct.
Something that's going to be pretty good to fill that bag when you come in the Spare Time Pro Shop to get your stuff drilled for the fall.
Yeah, we carry almost every SKU by DV8. Brian Graham has done a wonderful job down at Brunswick for DV8, being the president of the company, and really giving a lot of bang for the buck with their products. Great shot there.
Yeah, just
a Nick.
Bad ring 10. That's a bad break coming off of just an errant spare shot. Didn't give it enough room right, and got across the 2-pin on his spare attempt on 24, and now he's just got to gather himself back up. And we know Nick here, it's just going to be polyester ball, hard and straight.
got, again, Riley, both games sitting on the bench, letting the opponents make the mistakes for him, taking the lead on the bench.
Nice, flattens out the hand. Learned that from his girlfriend, Ashley Bell, I guarantee you.
Yes, he wanted to give a big shout out to Ashley Bell.
Ashley, Whitewater, another young lady, made the top 16, junior gold. The talent is there.
Yep, very direct player. She would obviously do very, very good on the short pattern from the outside angle. And you're right, Phil, a lot of the high rev guys we were talking about earlier in the first game with Quinton's match, they don't like to play that second or third board, and that's obviously something that they have to practice and get used to.
That was the big difference. Once again, down at junior gold, you saw the largest scoring disparities on the short pattern. They bowl in a short, medium, and long down at junior gold as well. That's why we use this tournament, to get them prepared for it, keep things interesting for them. And a lot of bowlers struggled on that short pattern, where a bowler like Nick Kreml averages 230 for 5 games on it and runs away and opens up his lead on the field. I mean, Nick averaged almost 9 pins higher than second place during the qualifying part of junior gold for 15 games, and that's just amazing to separate yourself from the field that way.
I think for any serious bowler out there, Phil, I think you have to, obviously the lane is 39 boards, 40 inches wide. I think you have to learn to play anything from, let's say, first, second board to 5th or 6th arrow, and anywhere in between. If you don't practice anywhere from outside first arrow to 5th, 6th arrow, you're just simply not going to be able to compete on the different tournaments that are out there. You can't go into it expecting second arrow as your only shot out there. You did that in the old days on a short lacquer pattern, but shellac pattern, but we don't have that anymore.
Yeah, and Riley, a great shot getting into the commercial break for this game. Opens himself up a 23-pin lead, and we'll be back with the second half of this DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash semifinal match from New Berlin Bowl in just a moment. The semifinal match for the DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash, coming to you from New Berlin Bowl in New Berlin, Wisconsin, home of Spare Time Pro Shop.
Thank you,
with
Phil.
me, Dwight Albrecht from Spare Time Pro Shop and the Spare Time Radio Show. Once that starts up again, I believe in October,
Yes.
you and Sparky and Van will be back with that. I'll get to sneak in there once in a while as well. And
Yeah, first week of October, first Sunday in October, we'll be back on the air again, and obviously we'll be talking about the Summer Series, and right now going on the U.S. Open.
absolutely. Nick just getting a little left with that shot. You know, he made a little correction. He went a little wide before that. And, of course, with Riley throwing the ball in there, he could have taken a little bit of oil off the end of the pattern, had him creep high. And
again, that makes total sense that this left lane would be a little bit squirrelier, snakier than the left lane, just because of the shorter pattern. The ball's going to respond more on the back end. On 23, Phil, with the longer pattern, you're going to not see as much of the ball make movement on the back end because the ball's still reading oil almost into the pins.
so make sure you check out DV8bowling.com, the entire lineup for their bowling balls, bags, all their equipment. Check it out. As Dwight said earlier, he's got everything in his pro shop. I know Joey Serrar in our last show, he's got a bunch of DV8 stuff ready to drill up at Bowler's Pro Shop on the south side of Milwaukee. So if you're not happy with your pro shop guy right now, stop by one of those two places. That'd be my recommendation.
Yeah, we're going to be very excited this year, Phil, for the DV8 Endless Nightmare. I think that is, so far from what we've seen, going to be a pretty hot piece for heavy oiled lanes.
Yeah, I've seen some of the ball testing Joey does for Bowler's Journal. He got to sneak a little bit towards me, and I'll tell you what, yeah, that ball's definitely in my fall lineup.
Yes.
No doubt about that. And it's going to be for tournament. That ball's probably going to stay in the bag. I won't see it in league at all, but going around the tournaments, I know it's coming out. Riley wasn't sure that was going to hold. You could see his reaction.
A little firmer on it, and that's why it did hold. Speed was up a little bit. Again, just doing what he has to do, taking care of business, filling frames, double here, double there. He's given Nick everything that he can ask for.
Yeah, you see a little emotion out of both bowlers. It's, I guess you could say, compact emotion. You know, they know there's a job to do out here, and they just have to keep plugging away and get it done and
Correct.
get to that championship match. I mean, we've got a DV8 bowling ball on the line to go with the scholarship money
All
that they're
sport,
winning.
all sport compliant conditions, Phil. It's always a grind. Remember, it's got to be 3-to-1 ratio or less. So these guys are making absolutely great shots to shoot the scores that they are.
How about that? 44-pin lead Opened up by Riley Smith there, riding the momentum from that first match, and Nick's got to be thinking to himself here, I need to double to stay in this. I got to cut that lead down to 24.
6 out of the first 7, Phil, for Riley.
And Riley's made about a 3-board move with his feet since he started in the first match. He hasn't made much of a move down lane with his break point, so on the long pattern. So it's holding up pretty well down lane. It's just opening up in the front, so you're going to see the exact opposite here with the short pattern. It's going to open up a little earlier at the back of the lane. Nick makes the adjustment there.
Ball read the lane beautifully, and this is absolutely right now going to the 7th frame. This is go time for Nick. He has to get it going.
Yeah, I mean, his maximum right now, he can go off the sheet for 244, but Riley, he can go off the sheet here for 278. Not a bad game.
Yeah, and a 3-to-1 ratio, Phil. 2
different patterns, 2 different balls, 2 different lines, 2 different angles. 2 for special somewhere. Yeah, is there a 2 for special today here in New Berlin Bowl?
Just discipline and great physical game.
Oh, I thought he was going to leave the 10 on that. He had a little flat on the angle there.
Yeah,
but the speed, the speed got it out. So
checking the score. He knows the score. He's going to need some help from Riley to get back into this game.
Yeah, 6-pin just enough on the 10 to get it out.
And again, both of them, Phil, are playing the lanes absolutely perfect. If, again, you're going to be using that 31-foot exit point ratio.
So Riley here, you can see he just stays nice and loose in the stance, follows through nicely, and he creeps a little high. And
a little bit of a bad break there. He was a little high. I mean, I could have left almost anything, but it was like one of the pins, either the 2-pin didn't do its job.
Yeah, 2-pin got the 4 and didn't get the 7.
Right. Kind of a little weird how the pin carry was on that shot in particular, but easy spare here, and he'll go to the plastic ball and go hard and straight at it.
Oh, you'll see that sometimes with outside angles. The ball gets a little more, I guess they say, face to the pocket, and gets a little more drive through, and sometimes you don't see the 2-pin do what it's supposed to do. Or, we even saw earlier today, we saw a couple of bowlers on the short pattern leave pocket 6-pins because of the excessive angle. The ball hit the 3 and took it straight back into the 9 and 10.
Correct. You get past that 6-degree entry angle, and you can open yourself up for a lot of, let's say, cold 9s, where the 5-pin is just being chopped right off.
That needs some help. That's a little left out of his hand, and no help at all. And wow, this tide's turned.
Open door. Major open door here for Nick. Again, if a pro sitting on that bench watching this happen, he can't wait to get up on lane 24 and make that next shot.
Yeah, well, if he gets 2 here, he gets himself at 202. He can still go out for 232, and it's still going to make Nick throw a couple of strikes here.
Yeah, 9th frame still, in my opinion.
Ooh.
That's the most important frame of the game. That's your foundation frame for the 10th.
And that's kind of a count mistake there for Riley. Hopefully it doesn't bite him in the 10th frame. Right
threw
now,
away a lot of pins in that frame.
Yeah, threw 2 pins away on that, and a couple pins away on the spare. Nick's just wasting no time getting up. He knows.
Oh no, he knows
what he needs to do, and he needs this one right here.
And it's just, again, it's the tale of 2 halves. The first half, Riley's walking away with the match, and now the second half, Nick has a chance to come back. And look at that, Phil.
Used a little bit of that artificial bumper you see on these short sport patterns. There's still a little bit of dry to the outside, and he got smart. He used a little extra loft, used a little extra angle, and especially after he saw what Riley did with that 7-pin.
Depending on account of this next shot, it's either just going to be a few pin lead for Nick, or it could be up to a 14-pin lead for Nick.
Yeah, Nick does need the strike here, though, to really keep the pressure on. So if he goes off the sheet, he's at 240. Yeah, he needs this one to get into the 230s. And he would force Riley to at least get all 3 strikes in the 10th frame.
Yeah, this is a big ball for him right here.
Nice out of his hand. How about that?
Just 10 back. I mean, just great shot making on such a tough pattern, Phil. 47 feet. I mean, you just flush it right in the pocket.
Well, now count is huge right here. If he gets an 8 count and misses it, he'd be at 230. So 9 here is a winner. Riley kind of knows it too. You can see his reaction in the background. He knows that 9th frame did him in.
It's just interesting. Which lane would you want to be on to be in this situation, the left or the right lane?
Yeah, and Nick chose the finish first, and he chose to finish on lane 23. We'll see what Ryan Zagar does to him coming into the next match.
And again, you can see not one of his best throws. Ball just kind of hit a little flat there. 6 didn't do its job coming out of the flat gutter, leaves the weak 10.
But it's enough for the win. Yeah, he's got 232 even with the miss here. If Riley would have gotten 2 pins, last time. He could have given a little more help to it, but
look at Nick's first 5 frames. You know, I mean, 94 in the 5th, and look what he finishes up at.
So that nice 5-bagger gets him into the final match against Ryan Zagar.
One open out of Riley. One bad shot.
I believe those two faced each other in the match play round at Junior Gold. I know Riley and Ryan did, and I know they're looking forward to a little rematch with this.
Yeah, just like we talked about at the beginning of the match, it's the one that stays out of trouble. You know, even though that Nick had an open in the 3rd frame, Riley's open in the 9th was just greater.
Yeah, Riley takes home some nice scholarship cash today. Takes home a power sleeve from High Five Gear as well, one he'll get the design himself. Sure, we'll probably put those McKendree Eagle logos on there.
Yes, I know that DV8 actually is going to have a couple power sleeves out this coming fall also. So you're going to see a lot of those. Pros are wearing them. Really increases the circulation through the bowling arm. Really gives the arm some nice support. I wore it before my shoulder surgery. It seemed to help tremendously.
Yeah, I wear them now, bowling Sport League here at New Berlin Bowl, and it gets me through 4 games without too much of a problem. Oh, not a bad game there by Riley, 220. I would have thought that would have been a winner as he walks off, acknowledging the huge crowd here at New Berlin Bowl. It's going to be Nick Crummel and Ryan Zagar when we get back here in our final match for the DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash. Make sure you stay tuned.
.300 isn't just a number, it is our destination. Shouting at a ball will make it strike more. Nothing is as satisfying as hurling dangerously heavy spheres at stationary objects and watching X's fill the frames. You know it, we know it. So here's to the ballers, the lane dwellers, the alley cats. A new breed is rising from the lanes. We are DV8. Tonight we bowl.
Riley Smith and the Smith family cheering everybody on here in their own way for this championship match for the Marauder Mutiny Clash here in the Berlin Bowl. Ryan Zagar, he had lane choice being top seed, and Dwight, an interesting choice. He's going to choose to start the match, so he'll finish after Nick, and he's going to finish on the short pattern on lane 24.
Interesting. Maybe had a better look in practice, Phil. It's just sometimes you don't know what goes through their head, but you want to talk about 2 heavyweights, Phil.
No doubt about it. Both junior Team USA members not going to get the roll on those GLB1 pins from Great Lakes Bowling. We only use those on the TV shows, so you're not going to get any round bottoms on those pins. No doubt about that. You're going to earn every pin you knock down.
Again, just a touch wide. Just did not want to recover, and it won't on that long pattern, Phil. Well, what can you say about these 2 guys? I mean, my goodness. I mean, look at the list of accomplishments for both of them.
Yeah, Junior Team USA, tournament upon tournament upon tournament. Not even funny. Both with 800 series. Ryan with 857 for his high.
Wow.
Just amazing stuff. Ryan from a great bowling family. His dad, Matt, Racine Hall of Famer. Brother Kyle picking up the high school ranks, no doubt about that.
It definitely was a who's who of this TV show for young youth male bowling, no doubt about it. All 4 of them have just wonderful games.
And the DV8 Diva Clash, we had Morgan O'Brien, Junior Team USA member this year in 2013. Melissa Molbeck, who had a great run at Junior Gold as well. So, yeah, awesome bowling. If you want to improve youth bowlers, there's a couple tournament series out there, but nobody out there is going to get you the experience under the TV lights that the Youth Challenge Series does. And I bet you if you talk to anyone who's made our TV shows, they'll tell you how much it's improved their games, along with coaching, equipment knowledge, and all that, because it's a unique kind of pressure you get out here with thousands of people watching you bowl on TV.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. You were talking about earlier, if you want to get better, do it right like these young men have done. Go through the high school bowling, work with the high school coaches, get to know your pro shop operator, put in the hours to practice on your game with a certified coach to get better. And look at what these young men are doing here.
Absolutely, and there's enough scholarship money out between these youth organizations that you can earn a little bit extra for college as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ryan, a lot more of a compact swing than we used to see out of him back in the day, and a little trouble with I think there was more of a squeeze on the bottom by him than anything.
A little soft. Ball jumped on the last 5 feet. Lucky just to leave the 610, Phil.
And you can see there he's just kind of practicing the feel of his swing back by the ball return. He's going to switch to the polyester ball, go cross lane, take the chop out of play. And that's always the toughest part. Short pattern, lots of hook possible on that pattern. but no problem covering up the 610. So keeps himself within 12 pins early, and want to thank High Five Gear for all their support the last couple of seasons. Sure, we'll see them back again in our 2013-2014 season as well. Great bunch of people there, and
No doubt.
anything you want designed, bowling shirts, golf shirts, anything you could think of putting on a shirt, they can get it on there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. The most comfortable material I ever have worn.
And a great shot there by Ryan. Got himself a little more lined up on lane 23.
Great quality shot. Did not swing the ball as far. Kept it tight into the pocket. Beautiful strike.
So an interesting thing for Ryan, too, is that he's using the same type of bowling ball on both lanes, but he's controlling the back-end reaction by changing his hand positions. Boy, that used to be something you used to do 20 years ago, Dwight, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, we had 3 balls to choose from, all black and rubber. You know, so if we were going to make changes, we had to do it with the physical game. You know, so I applaud him for that. But equipment, though, right now is a very important part of the equation for your scoreability, and knowing what each ball does, too, Phil.
Yep. And we can see Nick as well using a little bit of a different hand position for spare shooting, obviously. You see him break his wrist back there, flatten it out. You know, we see him do that. He's coming up the back of the ball a little bit more on lane 24 to control the roll. And then on lane 23, he gets over and a little bit more side turn just to get that little quick break the last 3 or 4 feet before the pocket.
The biggest thing with both of these, both these guys' styles I call are the power strokers, Phil, or the power rollers. You know, Quentin was all about power, all about rev rate, and had a fair amount of side rotation, so he can hook the lane. Both of these guys go pretty straight. I was just going to say massive size break there, almost tripped the 4 into the 2 into the 1.
The cold head pin.
The domino theory, I call it.
Monday Night League, that used to be a $5 fine if you left one of those. It was another $5 if you missed it. So
That along with the 5-pin.
no doubt. Sure, he should have no problem. I don't see him missing the head pin 2 times in a row here. Didn't jinx him. All right, I feel good about that. A round of applause for myself. So keeps himself up by 10 pins. Go ahead.
Yeah, but getting back into their styles, Phil, is you find both Ryan and Nick with that forward roll type of style, that power roller type of style, they get in very little trouble, Phil, because they go so direct no matter what the condition is.
Oh yeah, and we saw the rally too. I mean, 247 and 220 out there under the TV lights, 2 different conditions, very tough conditions. Yeah, rally the same way as well, and a great break for Ryan there with the trip 4.
Yeah, much farther inside than what I expected him to play on that. I was quite surprised that the ball actually held pocket. I would assume that it was going to go high. Lucky to get the 4-9 out.
So gets himself back to even in this match. I would have expected nothing less starting off with this. Something tells me it's going to take another 230 or 240 to win a match here. I know earlier in the day I said maybe 215. Yeah, these bowlers got it figured out, and they got it figured out in a hurry.
The other thing, too, Phil, we got to take into consideration a little bit is the lanes could be going through a little transition now at this point. There's practice, obviously, before the actual game starts. And then, obviously, under the TV lights, the lanes are going to transition a little quicker because of the heat.
You just see there, ball just not a real strong roll when it got to the pocket. He kind of knew it. You see his reaction, wanting to get that 10 kicked out, and he doesn't look overly upset because he knows it wasn't the best shot out of his hand.
Yeah, he's playing the lanes very, very careful. Typically, when Ryan gets on the show, he's really opening up the pocket.
Yep. Covers it up nicely, keeps himself within a pin of Nick Kreml getting into our commercial break. Join us for the rest of the championship match from New Berlin Bowl in just a moment for the DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash. Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mountain Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee. Remember watching the old wrestling on WWE back in the day, and Jim Ross would call this match a slobber knocker.
Slobber knocker.
One
Nice.
pin the difference between Nick Kreml and Ryan Zagar. Wouldn't have expected anything less after what they did at Junior Gold, and let's see what Nick can do to try to keep a lead, and a good break to just leave us 6-10.
7 was there for a split second. I expected this match to be pretty close. I thought it would be a little higher scoring, and that could be the transitions in the lanes that I was talking about. That the lanes could be going through a little breakdown or a little change. But again, like I was saying, Phil, with both of their games, they're both being, in my opinion, though, very, very careful to stay out of trouble. Again, they both know they're on a 3-to-1 ratio, and they probably both know the lanes are transitioning this last game.
Yeah, 1 pin lead now for Ryan Zagar sitting on the bench. And that's the thing.
Close.
They know it's going to be a grind out
Yes.
at this point in time, and don't make the mistake that gives your opponent the lead while they're sitting on the bench.
Right, and again, that's what happened to Riley the 9th frame of the last game. He was in cruise control for the first 6-7 frames.
Well, looks like Nick made a little move to the left. He's going to try to float it a hair, and it didn't come back up to the pocket. So maybe the back ends aren't as open up as he thinks they are.
Maybe 23's getting in their eyes maybe a little weird in terms of their reaction. Heads could be going, but the back ends aren't finishing, and that's really can play tricks on your mind as a bowler if you don't get the ball to read the lane correctly.
Yeah, I mean, you get a little early roll that takes energy away on the back end of the lane, and the ball doesn't come all the way back up to the pocket. You think you've made a good shot, and that's an interesting way to make the 2-8 railroad.
Yeah, on a 47-foot pattern, that's like getting a double right there by making that spare.
I mean, he's on the left side of the head pin, and somehow...
How did he make it?
Yeah, somehow. It must have been a magnet turned on in the 8 pin or something.
In most cases, you're going to leave the 8 pin when shooting it like that. Looks like Ryan's making an adjustment with his feet on 24.
Yeah, last time he was up, went flush in the pocket, so he knows he might get a little more hook out of it. And once again, a little farther left than we thought we'd see him, but he's made it work the last 2 shots.
Yeah, I think he bumped in a board or 2 left with his feet. Last shot up on that lane, he tripped the 4 out. It was a high flush strike. This was obviously very packed in the pocket.
Yeah, and he knows he's going to need to stay in that pocket definitely on that short pattern, because that's where he's going to finish his 10th frame after Nick completes the match.
Yeah, last time in this lane, left a strong 10 pin.
Needs some help to get up. Oh, I thought it was going to take a little longer to react on the back end, but
that's a big double, Phil.
He must have given it a little something on the bottom and gets himself out to a 13-pin lead. Yeah, you can see a 47-foot pattern. I mean, that camera is right at 47 feet, and when that ball starts to pick up, it still gets off the yellow and needs a little time to get out of the hook phase and get into the roll phase, and you can see it's only rolling for about 5 feet before it gets to the pocket. Whereas on the short pattern, you see that roll pick up real early, and Nick controlling the pocket with a strike.
Got it out on the heads pretty good on that one, lofted it out onto the lane pretty good to delay the roll on the ball. And that's another thing that these guys can do, is they can either lay it down real quick at the foul line or get it out onto the lane to delay the ball from rolling up or hooking up.
Yeah. All the little games they need to play to keep the scores going. Exactly. That's going to need some help to stay. Woo. Thought that could have been a 5 count there.
Yeah, to me it looked like he hit up on that one too, and that would be the lane, in my opinion, would want to get it into the roll unless he feels that the heads are going on that lane.
Yeah, and you see, not happy, checking the scoreboard.
Yeah, he's going to have to come behind victory if he's going to win this match.
So, moves over the left side of the approach, goes cross lane out with some speed. All 3 with the ball and a little power to get that 6-pin back up on the pin deck.
The biggest thing, Phil, too, is they know that obviously the lanes are tough and they're probably transitioning, but what's keeping each one of them in this match is their great spear shooting.
Yep. Yeah. Clean through 7.5 frames here. Wouldn't expect anything less between these 2 bowlers.
No.
And, only open we saw for Riley as well was that big 4 that he left in the 9th frame of his match. So all 3 of those bowlers that made junior gold, they know how important spares are. And wow. How about that for a 9-pin?
Well, there's power. It was a touch high in the pocket, though. But, again, clearly one of the pins didn't do its job. We maybe see it in slow-mo here.
Just everything goes away from the 9-pin.
Now, every pin was off the deck fast except for one.
That's an interesting reaction, knowing that you threw a great shot, and you think you threw a great shot, and then you get a little extra friction on the back and leave a 9.
I mean, that could be a game changer right there, Phil. I mean, that could have been a huge 3-bagger for Ryan and open a fairly big lead.
Yeah, I mean, his maximum right now is 236. So no matter what, he stays ahead of Nick here.
Take 11 off the score just for leaving that cold 9-pin in the 8. Just for leaving it.
Yeah. especially if he gets this one in the 9th here. And last couple of shots, he's been right in the pocket. That little bit of a weak 10 in the 5th frame. And another good one out of his hand, Dwight.
Yeah, I mean, clearly that could have been 4 in a row. But, again, you got to put it behind you, and that's the breaks of the game. You throw a great shot and you leave a stone 9. Not much you can do. You get back on the lane and you do just what he did. He threw another flush strike. Just, again, the maturity aspect of Ryan and how many times he's been in this situation, as both young men have.
I say we take these 2 young men in this match, Riley Smith, Morgan O'Brien, and Ashley Bell, and we put them onto a nice 5-person mixed team. And I think we could put them against any 5-person mixed team in Wisconsin.
You would think that if they weren't on the leaderboard, something would be wrong. Yeah. Absolutely. What great talents.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other bowlers that we've seen that we could interchange on there. I mean, Nick's teammate Aaron Adams has made a couple of our shows. Katie Zwiefelhofer you could throw in there too. Made a ton of shows as well. Boy, if there's some adult teams, tournament teams looking for young bowlers coming out of youth leagues the next league or two to put a team together with, keep watching our TV shows. Great shot by Nick in a 10th. Really put the pressure on now.
And the biggest thing, Phil, big double, but the biggest thing, Phil, is they paid their dues.
Yep.
They're not bowling on soft conditions here. They're bowling on just as tough a condition as what a pro bowler would bowl on.
Absolutely. What they're going to see at a USBC tournament or things of that nature. Obviously what they saw at Junior Gold. And if Nick can strike here, it's going to force Ryan to double in the 10th frame as well. And
wow.
We see that a lot here sometimes in New Berlin on the light hits where just everything gets there fast.
Right.
There's nothing you can do about it. You have such a strong ball reaction.
And the pins just don't finish the job.
Yeah, you just watch everything fights to get near the 7 pin. You got the head pin, the 4 pin, the 5 pin, the 8 pin, and nothing got there. He wasn't
Big man count.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with his release, but you can't fault him. He put it on target, made a great shot, and that's going to give him 213, which means any mark here by Ryan and a good count, he's going to need a spare, and 8 would be a 214, would be a victory for him. So if he does that, he's going to get a DV8 bowling ball. Thanks to our friends at DV8 Bowling. Check out that website. Drill up a new piece from them. Thank them for their support going into this fall bowling season. That's just left out of his hand again.
Wow.
And a big break to just leave a 610. And this is no gimme either on a short pattern.
Man, I just again, it's just what at the beginning of the match, they have their choice which lane to finish with. You would think they would want to finish with that longer pattern because they have that hold area just in case they do pull it. You're not going to get that hold area on the short pattern. And Phil, this could be easily chopped.
Absolutely. Moves to the left. Flattens it out, and hold on. Ooh,
that was left off his hand. So he got a gift on both shots in that frame.
Yeah, well, sometimes in bowling you make your own breaks. I mean, they weren't horrendous shots, but you have to make really good shots out here.
Oh, wow, that could have easily been a chop.
Do it, and now he's got to get 8 pins again. So if he goes through the nose and gets 7 or 6, 7's a tie. We'd have a single ball roll off. 6, Greek Church or Big 4 or washout.
We all want to be as bowlers, so Phil. We want to be in this situation to throw a good shot to win it.
Nice out of his hand. Much better shot. He knew it. There is your winner with a 216 to 213 victory for the DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash. Ryan Zagar takes home another U Challenge Series title. And Dwight and I will be back from the Berlin Bowl to wrap this tournament up in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. With the completion of all 10 events in the 2012-2013 Youth Challenge Series, Nick Krumla and Stephanie Schwartz rode their victories from the Sean Yuna Memorial in Sheboygan in March to the season titles in the Player of the Year point standings presented by High Five Gear. From bowling shoe covers to towels, from power sleeves to the official jersey of the Professional Bowlers Association, customize your gear your way at highfivegear.com.
Dwight, what can you say? The Marauder Mutiny Clash, best matches, best overall show I think we had all season. First match, a little slow. Quentin Fisher struggled a little bit, but Riley Smith came out of the gates at that 247. I really thought he could run the stepladder, and then he ran into that little bit of trouble in the 9th frame of the second game against Nick Kreml.
One mistake, Phil. One mistake cost him everything. He could have ran the whole show. Yes, absolutely. I think he could have gone through everyone. But it just shows you just that one mistake in a crucial frame, how it can be a game changer.
And then you get to the final match. It's just back and forth all the way through. Nick's got the lead. Ryan takes the lead. Nick takes the lead back. And then in the 10th frame, just one little bad break by Nick, and Ryan took advantage of it and closed the door when he was up in the 10th.
Yeah, you kind of knew with both of their game styles being very similar, it was going to be the one that either catches the break or stays out of trouble.
Ryan Zagar, 216 to 213 over Nick Kreml, gets our last 2012-2013 U Challenge Series title for the DV8 Marauder Mutiny Clash. More bowling coming up thanks to our friends on Time Warner Cable Sports. An adult youth Challenge Series event coming to you from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. 3 separate divisions, and we'll be back calling that one shortly. So for my friend Dwight Albrecht, see him at Spirit Time Pro Shop inside New Berlin Bowl. I'm Phil Brylow, and parents take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life. We'll see you again from Classic Lanes Greenfield for that Adult Youth Classic.